should have been me all along. And Sunday, it will be me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episodic adventure. It's Talkamania. I'm your co-host Dez, here with the boozerweight himself, J-Bomb. J-Bomb, say hello.
2 weeks in a row, I'm the boozerweight.
You are the boozerweight now. I like it. I saw it. It suits you. It's stuck.
I had a pretty boozy weekend, so it's pretty fitting.
Every weekend in your life is a boozy weekend.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I got to make some
But this
changes.
weekend, you will not make any changes. Good. Keep telling yourself that. You know, it'll get you through your day-to-day life, but nothing's going to change. We were both in Toronto this weekend.
Yes, we were, and we were not there to celebrate the Toronto Raptors winning the NBA championship.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Well, first of all, why were you in Toronto? Tell us.
I was in Toronto to booze. No. I went there to see an Alexis on Fire concert.
Nice.
Something along those lines.
Good deal. So J-Bomb has been a huge Alexis on Fire fan for years. He's been at all the concerts, where it was our last concert, then the reunion concerts, and then their last concert, and then the next reunion concerts. Yep. So he's been at all of them. This guy is part of Alexis on Fire's history. So really cool.
Yeah.
Glad you had a good time.
What were you in Toronto for?
Had a good time. I was in Toronto for something a little bit more nerdier. Our American friends probably won't know what this is, but in Canada, part of our Canadian heritage, we have a show growing up in the 80s and 90s. It was called Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. No, it's not the modern one with Drake. It was the old school one. And I grew up as a huge fan. A big part of our culture in Canada. Taught you about a lot about life lessons, pregnancy, AIDS, abuse, all kinds of hot topics that we wouldn't talk about back then. Yeah, all kinds of things. So these guys were a bunch of group of kids that would tell these stories in a very dramatic way. There wasn't always a happy ending, and the stories they told were great. The character progression was great, and growing up in school, sometimes you had bad days and you didn't get along with everybody. You didn't always have too many friends, and you'd always be able to go home and these would be your friends. And now everybody's like, oh, poor Dez. But it was a cool show. And anyways, they did a giant reunion years later. I think the last show was in the early 90s. They did a giant reunion. The cast got back together. So I went and pretty much checked it out. It was like a convention called Degrassi Palooza. Met the cast. Won some cool swag in the auction. Actual memorabilia from the show. And I DJ'd the 80s, 90s dance party at nighttime with Mr. Radich, who was the principal. So that was pretty rad. But I won't nerd it up too much. But it was really exciting. So we were both in Toronto, but we're both back here now.
He's not doing himself enough justice. He just showed me all this shit that he picked up from the show. Literally, the studio that he's in right now is like littered in memorabilia. Like, I don't know how much money you spent, Des, but it looks like you spent a shitload of money.
I spent a bit of money, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and I got some cool stuff. Like, I have some T-shirts that were worn from the cast, art that was actually made by the cast, giant poster boards and stuff signed by them. So it's some really neat stuff. Maybe I'll throw it up later if you guys are interested or not. But yeah, I'm trying to downplay it because I don't want them to know my secret that I'm a huge nerd. A huge nerd. But look, talking about Toronto. The Raptors are your champions, guys. They beat the Golden State Warriors. J-Bomb's not impressed. He's given the one eyebrow over the other, giving the little bit of a side nod.
Who cares?
Doesn't really care. Exactly. But I do. I really liked it. I watched the series, the game before the last one, too, where it came down to 1 point. And then the final game, Stephen Curry tripped over himself. It looked like they were trying to give them an extra minute or two to maybe squeeze a point in there. I just felt like it was Toronto's time. It was going to happen regardless. Did you see how many people were in this parade on the streets? Did you actually get a crazy, eh?
The parade looked cooler than, because I watched the last minute of the finals because, it was just on TV where I was, and it was just so anticlimactic compared to, the night before I watched the Stanley Cup Finals and I watched the Boston Bruins lose, okay? But as a Canadian, I was still excited to see the other team win just because anybody winning the Stanley Cup is just freaking mind-boggling. And to see the emotions they were going through and then to watch the NBA Finals the next day, they were still excited, but I don't know, it was just a different kind of emotion. Even Golden State was like, we'll be there again. No big deal for the loss.
Yeah, but Golden State took out the whole front page of a newspaper to congratulate the Toronto Raptors. So I thought that was really classy.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I'll agree with you to some extent because it wasn't in Toronto. I think if it was the night before when they took that final shot and missed it and they would have won, I think the city would have exploded. I think the fact that it wasn't at home kind of I guess made it a little bit anticlimactic. Plus the point gap was a little bit larger. I think people knew Toronto was going to win. I'm
not saying for the fans. I mean, the team themselves. Like they didn't. It's just when that final buzzer goes off in hockey, you just see sticks, helmets, and gloves fly, and then there's like a dog pile. And I get that it's a different sport, and I get that it's, completely different. But I was just watching it, and they just kind of like, they're like high-fiving. They're like,
you wanted more enthusiasm.
A little bit more, but the parade
passion.
looked sick. Those aerial shots were nuts.
Yeah, and Drake didn't hog the mic and spotlight too much, so that was pretty cool. And great for the city, great for Canada, and great for basketball.
Great for the city, not great for Canada.
We did invent the sport after all, guys. Wikipedia that shit.
Yeah.
Look, okay, guys, before we get into things, make sure to follow us on Twitter @_Talkamania. Give us a follow on Instagram, Talkamania. And give us a listen. Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcastic kicks.
We're on iHeartRadio as well. I realized that we weren't on there, so we submitted the podcast. We're on there as well. Apparently, they're taking over the podcast world, so that's pretty awesome. Every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock, check us out on Full Press Radio, and specifically our Stomping Grounds kickoff show, which is going to be live this Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Guys, call in, let us know your predictions. Get involved. Check them out at Full Press Radio, at FP Coverage, and at FPC_wrestling. Check out our website as usual, www.talkamania.com. Buy some merch, prowrestlingtees.com/Talkamania, and check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Talkamaniacs.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be playing some Monster Hunter soon. I got the itch. I've been seeing Asuka play. There's a new DLC coming out in the fall, and I want to get my bearings back, so I'll be putting some of that up. As long as Jay logs out and I have access, once and for all, I'll be able to put some gaming up there. Never I have the power.
All right. Des, let's get into things. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some news coming out of AEW. We're going to be doing our Raw and SmackDown live recaps. And then at the tail end of the show, we're going to get into our Stomping Ground predictions. So should be a fun one.
Nice. But if you guys want our full in-depth predictions, you got to tune in live this Sunday. I'm excited. I love our live shows. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's been a while, although it hasn't been a while, but,
we do them every month. But this is the first time that we're going to do them in a non-fucked up way. We're actually going to be, both at home, both properly set up, and we're not going to put it all on Ian to make it happen.
Sounds good.
All right, let's talk AEW, buddy. First,
we're like, screw WWE. Let's just go right to the good stuff.
First and foremost, we haven't talked about it since last episode, so All Out sold out in 15 minutes. So they seem to be
all out sold out.
All out sold out. Another 11,000 tickets. So AEW seems to be rolling pretty strong right now, man.
I jumped in queue for tickets just for shits and giggles, and I was like 66,000 in line.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's crazy and great for AEW, great for wrestling. It's exciting. I love it.
There's a lot to be excited about. About 50 minutes before we started recording, the new episode of The Road to Fyter Fest came out on Nightmare Family. Earlier this week as well, Being the Elite came out. Des, did you get a chance to take a look at it?
I did watch Being the Elite. I was expecting it to be a huge episode. I mean, I guess it kind of was because we did have the Young Bucks drop their tag team titles, right? Yep. So I guess that's the big thing being taken out of that. Outside of that, what did we have? We had Kenny Omega playing some video games.
Being the Elite's a litlittle bit different. I think you're going to enjoy Nightmare Family a little bit more. It's a little bit more produced. It's a little bit more like an intro to guys that we've never had. Being the Elite, jumping in this late in the series, you're kind of missing some of the inside jokes and stuff. But yeah,
I did learn about the Coke coffee, the Coca-Cola coffee drink.
I don't know if that'd be good. It looked pretty gross.
No, I don't know. Yeah, it did look pretty gross. I did notice, though, that they have Marty still in the opening segment, eh?
Yeah, he kind of flies in and misses that roller coaster.
He misses. I wonder if when he does, because he will,
yes,
when he does come and join them, if he's actually going to land it.
He's
awesome.
going to fucking land it for sure. And then that's going to be the little Easter egg for the rest of the episode. But the major takeaways were, like you mentioned, the Young Bucks lost their tag team title down in AAA. We also got to find out who Phoenix and Pentagon Jr.'s tag team partner is going to be. It's going to be Laredo Kid. I have no idea who this guy is, so I'm really excited to see him at Fyter Fest. Speaking of Fyter...
Who's the Young Bucks partner?
Kenny Omega.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a fucking hell of a match. Speaking of Fyter Fest, we also got some pre-show news. There's going to be a triple threat tag team match between SCU, Best Friends, and Private Party. This one's a bit confusing. The winners are moving on to get a shot at a first round bye during All Out, but I think the tag team championship tournament is going to be only once AEW goes live on TV every week. So it's going to be a long play here, but we're starting to get an idea of the tag team division. There's going to be tag team championship belts, obviously. They also announced there's going to be a women's championship, AEW World Women's Championship belt. That's what they named it. So
Cool. I mean, if you're going to be the champion, why not be champion of the world?
Well, that's it, man. That's it. And then Tony Khan this week was also on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast. You get a chance to check it out?
I heard bits. Oh, I listened to bits and pieces. It's been a bit of a busy week, but the main takeaway, and it ties into exactly what you were talking about, was they said, Tony, what is your expectations for the titles that you're going to have in the company? And I don't think he's focusing on a mid-carder title. Right now, he wants the world title. He wants the men's tag team titles. He wants the women's world title. And he's looking in the near future, for the women's tag team titles. And right now, that is what your titles are going to look like. Maybe there will be a mid-tier title in the future. I'm sure there will be, and these things kind of happen. But they want to focus on, if you are the top dog, you are the top dog.
Which makes sense. Mid-card titles,
You don't think they need a 24/7, 365 title over there?
I like WCW when they had the TV title. I think there should be a title that gets changed on
changed on TV, right?
Raw,
you can look forward to it.
Yeah. 50 minutes before we started recording, I snuck it in last second. Nightmare Family. The big takeaway was an intro to who Private Party is. So, Des, after this podcast, you should take a look at it. And there were two, I'm not going to call them Easter eggs, but two little surprises that I thought were pretty interesting that I want to mention. There was a photo of Kenny Omega with Xavier Woods. And there was also a picture of Private Party with Sasha Banks. So
they were with Sasha?
Yeah, it was Sasha Banks, Private Party, and then one of the trainers that Private Party was explaining they were trained by. I guess they also trained Sasha Banks or whatnot, but I don't know. I feel it pretty convenient that they threw that in there.
Well, I mean, Sasha is dropping all kinds of, I guess, puzzles, Easter eggs, and riddles on her social media page, tweeting out a bunch of different city names or this time around. So I don't know what that means. Is she going to them? Some of them are the WWE going to these cities in the near future. So maybe she's going back on the road with them. But I don't know. I saw Chicago mentioned in there as well too. All in, all out. Sorry, all out. But she's under contract. It's not going to happen. She's just having fun with us, I think, for the most part.
It's interesting, that's for sure. I mean, there was rumors going around this week that WWE had said something along the lines of they didn't really want Xavier Woods to appear with Kenny Omega, or at least maybe in fear of things like this, photos that appear on AEW YouTube channels. So pretty interesting.
I'm even hearing that the Revival are still potentially set to leave the company, man. I don't know. I feel like the Young Bucks and the Revival is just something that is like fate. It's going to happen. So, they seem like a tag team that just wants to have great matches and great stories told. And right now they're enjoying the ride. But apparently they haven't signed those contracts that were offered to them. So who knows what's going on with the Revival. Yeah,
well, it is what it is, right? Some big news coming out of WWE. Io Shirai is officially turned heel, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so if those of you who didn't follow her, I guess, indie run, she was amazing as a heel. Maybe even better as a heel than a face. She's very arrogant, and the character she played, you think she can play a good face, you should see her play a good heel. The only thing for me is I felt like they could have waited a little bit longer. I feel like her match with Shayna Baszler was great. And I also feel like, the beatdown she gave her afterwards kind of led into something, right? She beat down the heel. and then what? The next show, she's bad. Like it just kind of didn't make sense. I feel like this is kind of a case of the WWE calling audibles and kind of being like, okay, let's just scrap this and let's change this. Let's scrap this and change this. And now we have Shayna going on to face Mia Yim. Okay, cool, whatever. We'll give her chance. We'll rotate people around a little bit. We have to watch the NXT taping where she goes and has that cage match with Shayna. She turns on Shayna. I won't spoil it for you guys, but it's a really good match. And I'm interested to see what happens. Her entrance is different. She's dressing all in black. It could be really cool. It just felt like to me they could have maybe milked it a little bit more. I would have liked to see her get the title off of Shayna Baszler, but I guess, they can't give everybody the title, and I guess that's kind of part of it as well too. Yeah. So I kind of understand that. But having Mia Yim in place of Io, it's like, really, like, you really think you're going to get a better match out of that? I mean, like, maybe I'm knocking Mia a little bit, and she is good, but come on, she's no Io Shirai. And if Mia goes on to dethrone Shayna and win that title, I'll be a little bit salty. You'll be hearing about it. And the fact that I will be at NXT TakeOver as well too, I'm a little bit upset about this because now I'm quite likely I'm not going to see Io wrestle, and I'm sad about that. Mind you, I've heard lots of rumors, lots of speculation that this NXT TakeOver is the one they're putting the most effort, time, and build up into. They're supposed to be making it one of the best cards in NXT TakeOver history. So I'm hoping they put a second women's match in there, and maybe we will get Io versus Candice LeRae. Because straight up, those two women would be a phenomenal match.
I think you may have just spoiled some stuff with that one. You may have spoiled some stuff.
Do you know something I don't know?
Yeah. No, we know the same thing. I'm just trying to... Sorry, Payne.
I told them. I just said, I'm not going to spoil the end of the... Oh, I guess I did spoil
the
end
you kind of did. But it works. Anybody who's listening to a wrestling podcast has probably already read the results of NXT. So,
well, that's it, right? Come on. We're a community. Don't throw me under the bus.
And if you haven't, well...
Suck it!
I'm going to start getting some new sound bites in there. I like that. I don't want to ever lose that suck it, but
yeah, we
got to get some more shit going.
All right. Matt Hardy announced that he and his wife, Rebby Hardy, are expecting baby number 3.
Ooh, wonderful.
That's pretty much all the news that's coming out of WWE right now.
Matt Hardy had sex and knocked up his wife.
Again. Good for him. Good for him.
I guess.
I wonder if it'll be a third boy.
Maybe.
We'll have to wait and see. You want to talk Raw and SmackDown?
Yeah, let's get through it. Let's get through it. Let's do it.
All right. The United States Championship contender match kicked off Raw this week. Overall, was a pretty sweet match. We're getting Ricochet versus Samoa Joe as a result. Dez, how did you enjoy it?
I didn't like Raw and SmackDown this week very much. I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was great. I won't be too critical because a lot of people were tweeting out how much they loved it, and they thought it was a great episode. Great episodes this week. So maybe I'm just missing something. So yeah, the match itself started off a bit clunky and a bit fast-paced. Braun Strowman getting a few eliminations early on. I didn't like the fact that Cesaro was eliminated so quickly. Maybe his leg is a bit banged up from the match with Ricochet, but apparently he was selling it. But as the match progressed, it was a lot more enjoyable. I thought The Miz would go out before Cesaro, but it looks like they're letting Miz wrestle a little bit more. And he's actually been doing some great stuff in the ring. And seeing The Miz and Ricochet hash it out towards the end, I liked it. I thought the match itself was good. The way they took out Braun Strowman was believable. And I'm excited to see Ricochet versus Samoa Joe. I think the two can probably put on a good match and complement each other quite well. I don't see Ricochet winning this match. I see him being put to sleep. We'll get into that during our predictions, and we'll get into it during our show on Sunday. But I think it's a great start for him, putting him into these title matches, and who knows, maybe he will surprise us. But I liked it. Match was good.
Oh, but considering it's the U.S. Championship, I feel like this is one of the better builds that we've had in a really long time for this title.
That's a fantastic point. You're right. If you put it that way, it's true, because it definitely gets looked over quite often and shit on. And look at this. We don't even have an Intercontinental Championship match this Sunday.
Who is the IC champion?
Balor.
Oh, my God. You know who else is on the card?
Nothing.
No Charlotte. And I'm surprised people aren't talking about that more because everyone's like, oh, the WWE revolves around this girl. But she's not even...
I didn't even think of it. You're right. What is she? What's going on with her, eh? Wow.
She needs
You had to throw her into the main event WrestleMania But now it's like, oh yeah, no, we can have her off a pay-per-view. That's fine.
Yeah, stomping grounds, no big deal.
Andrade's mother died, and then her aunt died, so Charlotte can take some time off, and then she'll come back, and we'll just give her a title. It's fine. Well, we can pick up where we left off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The Viking Warriors made their return to television, and they got rewarded with a squash match.
I hate the squash match. It seems like that's just the thing. And the worst part about the squash match is they go up against a team normally that, like, somebody else could go in that spot. It was against two local jobbers this week, was it? Or
I don't know. I know there was another match against B Team. I don't know if that was on SmackDown or on
I think
Raw.
that was Heavy Machinery on
Okay,
SmackDown.
there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, they basically go on and they fight these jobbers, and it's like, well, you have these other teams that are on the show. I know you don't want them to lose, and then people will be like, you're burying them. But at least get them on there. They're recycling so many superstars because of this wild card rule. It's hard enough to get on screen.
Or imagine this. They put another team in there. They don't have them squashed. They give us an actual good tag team match where all four participants walk out looking great.
Yeah, I'm down. Just, if only we lived in such a world. Oh my God. It would be fantastic. And then their finishing move now, guys, I don't know if you heard this. The finishing move now is called the Viking Experience.
Dude, we've talked about that on the show.
I know, but hearing back again this week, it's like, man, McMahon just loves to sit back and be like, ha, 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 ha. I'm not dropping the experience. It's good shit.
It's great shit.
Well, I don't know. I think at this point they should be making like a Viking faction. Because look, Killian Dane, the dude is a legit Viking. Like they take part in like Viking community, all kinds of crazy shit. And then Logan too. She cut a promo during a commercial Raw talking about how she's a Viking and she kind of played in with the Viking experience. Just roll them in a faction together. No?
WWE hates factions because it brings joy to fans.
Yeah, that's it. NWO, DX. I mean, look how successful they were. Let's not repeat history and try something that worked.
Yeah, the Shield was horrible, right? That didn't work at all.
The only thing, so I don't care one way or the other about the Shield. The fans love them, awesome, and they've all gone on to do their own thing. Cool, awesome. But the fact that the WWE constantly rates the Shield as the number one faction of all time, and they've only been in, like, what, 5 years? Like,
yeah, but WWE,
anyway,
once they went public, became a new company. So since they've been public, the Shield is probably the best of all time. Name a better one.
Nope.
Can't. Let's talk about Shane McMahon for a second. I actually thought it was a nice change from the ordinary, having him have his little private party this week. It was kind of something that went on the whole way through Raw, which is kind of a kickback to the Attitude Era. They used to kind of do these kind of segments where
we've
we'll
talked
roll
about that.
through.
That's cool.
We saw appearances from Heath Slater, Roman Reigns, and of course his henchman, the Revival, and Drew McIntyre. How did you feel about the whole thing?
I genuinely feel, and I'm upset that we're not doing a salty and sweet this week because there's a lot to talk about, and this is one that's kind of on my nerves. We're getting too much Shane McMahon, way too much. I don't think he needs to be there. He's not a WWE superstar per se, but he is like a focal point of both Raw and SmackDown. He takes up about anywhere between 20 to 40% of the show every week. And it's funny, before we started recording, I went on social media and somebody said something like, Rusev, are you upset that Shane is always, taking up so much time on TV? And Rusev's like, of course I'm not. It's normal. He's the boss's son. I thought that was pretty funny.
Where
It's
is
kinda
Rusev? Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Where is Rusev? But we're getting a little bit too much Shane. It's getting annoying. But yeah, I agree that I like the whole segments that kind of go throughout the show. It's kind of more calls back to the old school way of things. And it wasn't absolutely terrible, but just way, way, way too much Shane McMahon. Did I like the appearance by Heath Slater? For sure.
Yeah,
outside of the mic not working initially and not being able to tune in or listen in, I thought it was really cool. I actually, when Drew McIntyre initially showed compassion and had followed him out of the room, I was like, oh man. Is this it? Is this what gets to his heartstrings? His old friend, Heath Slater, down in the dumps. And I was thinking that maybe, he's going to start having a weakness and maybe kind of get a little bit softer with Heath Slater. I would like to see a little reunion between the two of them or something. I know it's not the best decision and it wouldn't make sense, but there's a part of me that was like, oh, really? This is interesting.
And they were in the hallway, so there was a chance for Jinder to be there.
There was exactly. There was a chance for Jinder Mahal to show up. But then when he dropped the money, I was like, uh-oh, because like he dropped it way too easily, and I'm like, here we go. So, but you know what? It gives ultimate heel heat to Drew McIntyre going into his match against Roman Reigns. I thought the segment where he got chased, he got put to the table was pretty cool, and then the chase to the ring, everything was really cool. And I have to think, we always talk about the recipe going into pay-per-views and how usually, like, the person who's going to lose or win is on top this week or that week. I have to say, the way they've set things up, Roman was on top this week. It makes me wonder, will Drew be taking it this Sunday at Stomping Grounds?
It's a fair question. I thought the exact same thing while I was watching. I could hear you telling me what you just told our listeners while I was watching it happen. And we've talked about the podcast. Well, I've mentioned on the podcast before that I think that they need to book Roman. No, don't make him the underdog. Make him the favorite going into pay-per-views and have him win. I don't care. Like, people always complained about Super Cena. I think a Super Roman would work. Like, the reason why he didn't work because he has been Super Roman. Yeah, but Super Roman, but he always went into pay-per-views as the underdog, so that's why it was never believable. Every
match that Roman's had at pay-per-view, I believed he was going to win. So
I agree with you, but on the Raw going into it, Roman's notorious for getting his ass kicked constantly. Braun Strowman kicked his ass for months. Brock Lesnar kicked his ass for months. Seth Rollins, when he was a champion, kicked his ass for months, and then Roman would win. And that's what was annoying to us fans. But if Roman was a powerhouse and could be booked as a powerhouse, I think we might have enjoyed it a bit more.
I got to ask you, do you think the fans are cooling off on Roman Reigns? Because when he came back after his leukemia, fans were loving him. Like, this guy not only, like, he beat the best, he beat cancer, which is amazing and awesome for him. But I have to say, I'm hearing a lot more of those boos coming back. So do you think the fans are over it?
I feel like when he came back, huge applauses. Then we heard the boos again pretty quickly after. Now I feel like there's almost no reaction, which is probably the worst. But I think that WWE's purposely tried to cool him off from the main event picture and have kind of put him in these still, upper mid-card matches against guys like Drew at WrestleMania. Still a spotlight. I think it's the right move. I think there's going to be a time where they're going to be able to input Roman back in, and I think he's going to be liked.
Oh, exactly what it is. And I know you're giving them a lot of credit, but also I wouldn't give them too much credit because they're doing it for Fox. So basically, like, we're going on to Fox in October, so let's just kind of, make you look strong, put you in this storyline for the time being, let everything else go on, and then when we go to Fox, we'll pull you back up, put you in the spotlight, make you shiny and new. So that's pretty much it for me. They're just kind of biding their time.
Yeah, I hope. I'm praying and I'm holding on to it because WWE has been so bad lately that I'm really hoping for Fox to be like some sort of fresh start. But I'm telling you, man, it's like I still don't believe in it.
I hope that Fox basically has more influence than we think. Because, like, look, they did the Superstar shakeup. Then Fox was like, we don't want this. We want stars on all our shows. Okay, we'll do the wild card. It's only 4 wrestlers. And it's not. I think somebody on social media counted like 8 or 9 people last week that showed up on each show. So it looks like when Fox complains about something, they get their way to some degree. Even when Zelina and Andrade went to Raw and then came back to Smackdown, and like the way they were able to kind of move things around a little bit. And people say it's not Fox entirely, but it looks like they have some kind of say, and they got to also play to Fox's demand a little bit because they are paying the big bucks. So hopefully they're like, hey, we want more violence, or hey, we want this. Maybe they'll listen a little bit, but that also could backfire on us.
Yeah, I think it could backfire on us because they bought the product as it is right now. They invested the money as it is right now. So I would assume if I was buying something, I wouldn't want to buy it and change it. I want to buy it and keep it the same. That's just me.
No, you got a point.
Let's just take a real quick second here. And can we all agree that Weekend and Bernie EC3 is the best EC3 we've seen so far?
Dude, I sat down and I thought about all the possible things they could do with this and how amazing it would be for TV, and they should be doing it. Dude, first of all, he should have lied on that stage dead the whole show. The rest of the show. Should have been there until the end. Just lying there.
Yep.
I think it would have been amazing. And you know what the funny thing was is, okay, Seth Rollins running off the chair. They're trying to do something cool with it. I get it. He's trying to be badass, taking everybody out. I don't know if I'm really sold on it. I'm being a bit critical. I guess it's cool, but I don't know if it's doing it for me. But the thing I don't get is, like, look, he knocks Baron Corbin with the chair, and Baron Corbin gets up within the segment and is like, ow, that kind of hurt. EC3 gets hit once and he's dead for the rest of the night. And he can't even go to be the referee on Sunday. So, like, that's just stupid. And I guess I'm being a little bit too critical and poking holes into things. But what I thought could have been really cool is, dude, have EC3 be the ref. I think the fans would like it. I think it could be a really cool angle. Nobody cares about Baron Corbin anyways. We don't think he's going to win this match. At least give EC3 a chance to go out there. What I think could be really cool is he makes it this Sunday. All right? He's there. He's wrestling the match. And at some point, he takes a bump and gets knocked out again. Could be a chair, could be in the turnbuckle, could be whatever you want. And he's knocked out again, the whole match. And this happens maybe early in the match, maybe the first 5-10 minutes. And he's knocked out throughout the whole match. And throughout the whole match, they're doing moves and pinning each other and dragging E3 in position and counting their hand themselves like Weekend at Bernie's. So basically, he is the referee throughout the whole match, but as a corpse, like Weekend at Bernie's. I think they could have a lot of fun with it. They could do a lot of cool things with it.
That's good shit.
Come on.
That's good shit.
That's good shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Who do you think the referee is even going to be?
I think Brock Lesnar.
You think so? You think Brock Lesnar is showing up to Stomping Grounds?
It's so funny. Right when you were going to stop talking, I was going to say, but I don't know because it's Stomping Grounds. But look, we know he's not going back to Ultimate Fighting, so maybe he's got more of a full-time schedule, or I guess for the main events, regardless of what the name of the pay-per-view is. I'm trying to think of anybody else. If they put Bobby Lashley in there, that'd be very disappointing. But again, the WWE's been a lot of disappointment lately. I don't think EC3 is going to do it, obviously. Shelton Benjamin, the B team. I don't know. Who else on the roster that's not being used right now would do it? I think it could be interesting. And I honestly hope it would be Brock Lesnar because that makes me more interested in the pay-per-view as a whole because it's like, well, look, Brock is the ref. How the hell is he going to end up walking out of this with the title if Brock is controlling the 3 count?
It's probably going to be Shane McMahon.
Maybe.
He's not on the card.
Well, he's going to be outside the ring, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, so I don't know exactly if it probably would be him, but it's definitely a possibility up there. But I think if it is Brock Lesnar, it's going to end in like a DQ or no contest.
Or he's going to cash in. He's going to beat the both of them up.
No, man. He's going a year. He's going to troll us all year with that briefcase.
I guess we'll have to leave that conversation for Sunday when we decide who the special ref's going to be. I see it here in your notes. You said the Iconics spend too much time talking and making a joke out of the division. And while I do agree with you that division is a joke, I love it. I think that it's so bad that it's good. And at this point, I think that's the whole point, is to make this division such a joke.
Well, look, man, if you're looking for comedy, then fine, that's great. But I know that the women are some of the best wrestlers in the world, more so than the men. And I want to see the best women's wrestlers. The WWE should be the best of the best. Of the best.
Not going to happen.
So I look on my timeline every week when Iconics are on there and people are bitching about them and saying that they're talentless and they're garbage. And then we have people defending them saying, well, you didn't know them on the indie scene and you didn't know them and they're great. They're the best. It's like, well, they might have been great, but they're not right now. So maybe Peyton Royce and maybe Billy Kay are great wrestlers. Then let them showcase it. And I don't even care about the goofy comedy that they do. Sometimes it's okay. I don't mind the trolly, mean girl stuff that they do, but like go in the ring and back it up. To me, they're cowards. They go into the ring and they aren't great wrestlers. And when they do win matches, it's against enhancement talent. And it's just, I don't know. They're losing against other tag team. It just, I don't know. Make them look stronger. Let them wrestle. That's all I'm asking for. Let them wrestle. And I think that's all the frustration that the women in the back are feeling because they introduce these tag team titles. They see, this opportunity, this light in the horizon. Oh my God, this is amazing for women's wrestling. And it's kind of turned into a bit of a joke, a bit of an afterthought. And I just want to see women fucking wrestle.
Well, maybe AEW will help you there.
Dude, it has. I'm telling you, that's why. Maybe that's even accents more the fact that why that women's match or the 3-on-3 match was one of my favorite matches that night was just because it was so good and it was just women wrestling and putting on an amazing match. Like, I don't even care if they go up against enhancement talent and then they just do a really good match against the enhancement talent. Like, they don't. They go in, they're given 2 minutes, and I know it's, not entirely their fault. It's with the time they're given. But it's like they really need to invest in making this division legit and making them go out and be the best tag team wrestlers possible. Like, when I watched NXT and I saw the Sky Pirates or the Butt Pirates against Shayna Baszler, or not Shayna Baszler, the other two, Duke and
Shafir.
And Schaefer, they had amazing tag team matches. You had Io running one way, then Kai running the other way, and jumping over her and going under her and pushing her over. And they're like, the way that they worked as a tag team, like, and just NXT in general. Watch an NXT tag team match. This should be tag team wrestling. It's weird that there's a different standard between NXT and the WWE, and it's weird that the standard and quality in wrestling is better in NXT than the main product.
Well, one is a wrestling show, and the other one is pretty much Cirque du Soleil. Like, they're going town to town.
Should be the best of the best on the main roster.
I agree with you, but I think we have to accept it. Honestly, it's a tough pill to swallow. It's over, man.
I don't even care if they're going out there cutting their jokes and stuff, but at least go in the ring. If they went in the ring and we're like,
it's not them though, right? It's not them. It's the way they want the show.
I don't know about that because the New Day was always under my skin. I didn't like them at first. They were irritating, and they were heels at first too. But they would always put on a great match, and they'd always have good tag team matches, and they always have good. But they were given the
time. They were given the time and space.
Iconics have. I mean, look, I don't care if you give them like 5 minutes. They should be able to do some cool spots. Be like, okay, we only have 5 minutes. Let's talk to the enhancement talent. This is what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna.
You think they have that freedom?
I know it's easier for me to preach it and say it.
But do you think they have that? Do you think they have that choice, that freedom to do that, or they're just told go out? We want 2 or 3 bumps, and then roll them up and it's done. Because if that's the case,
I'm sure there's a mix of the two. It's for you to go in there and make the most out of your 5 minutes. I'm sure they could fit in better wrestling. And if I went out there and they were like, hey, you have to go in there, take 2 bumps, and, make sure you get pinned or pin them afterwards, I'd make sure that the 2 best bumps of the night. The matches that they have are sloppy.
Oh, yeah.
They're not as good as they could be. And I will agree to a lot of the people who are bitching and complaining and defending them on social media. I've seen some good stuff by these girls. I have. In NXT. I have not seen on the main roster. I don't know if they become rusty. I don't know
No, that's
if
what
they
I'm saying.
complacent.
I don't think that they have the freedom to do it on the main roster.
I don't know, because I see Ricochet do some pretty fucking good stuff.
But he might have
and
the
Cesaro
freedom
as
to
well,
do
too.
it. That's what I mean.
I don't know about that. You see them in rush matches, and they still do good stuff.
When's Ricochet been in a rush match on the main roster?
He lost against Robert Roode.
Yeah, but it wasn't a rush match. It was still like 10
It wasn't
minutes.
a great match.
Okay, hold on. Did the Kabuki Warriors face enhancement talent?
Yeah, I think they did 1 week.
Was it memorable?
Yeah, it was actually a good match. It was a pretty good match. But the one thing I will give you, though, is they didn't have a lot of time, and it was rushed.
Yeah.
But they did hit their segments and their transitions that looked really good.
Okay, fair enough.
The elbow. Like, look, man, you do that elbow off the top rope, any match is good, right?
Yeah, that's true. They have good
But regardless, they were really good. They were really good together. And my point is just I want to see more substance when it comes to the women's wrestling. I want to see them get the time, and I don't want to see it be made into a joke. And I'm not saying the Iconics are a joke, but they're being used as a joke.
They're a joke. They're
let them be a joke, but let them wrestle. Like I don't care how stupid you are.
I agree with you. I don't think they have the skills. I think they're a B type wrestling tag team, and I think they excel on the microphone, and that's what they're using them for. And their in ring doesn't really matter in the eyes of the booker.
The run's been garbage too. I mean, like honestly, if you're gonna take the title off of Bayley and Sasha and cause what happened with Sasha, have her leave the company, you lose that merch, you lose that draw, and then to give it to the Iconics, it hasn't been worth it in my mind. It hasn't been a good run. It's been a joke.
Yeah, but yeah. But fuck Sasha Banks.
Anyways, I did like the promo backstage with the Kabuki Warriors this week. They had them both go, iconic, do the pose. Kyrie being super cute with her telescope. But look, guys, we're going to have them wrestling in Japan. I think it's on the 28th of the month. And then if they do beat the Iconics, then they're going to be challenging for the tag team titles. So I'm happy. I think everything's going back on track now. I think the Kabuki Warriors will be the ones to dethrone them. So let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. Fingers crossed. Don't fuck this up.
Is SmackDown in Tokyo next week?
No, it's a live event.
Okay, it's a live event.
In Japan. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about some things that we do like. Firefly Funhouse this week teased that Bray Wyatt is on his way. So I want to ask you, is it...
They've been doing that forever, though.
No, but
is he really on his way?
This one seemed like it was the last one. I have a feeling...
Why? What made you feel that?
It just seemed that way. He kind of
Did he give you a look in his eye that
no, they kind of touched on every episode in one shot in like a montage of a sequence. And I just think it's, if this is his last episode or if there is one more, well, this kind of gets to my next question. Good or bad move that he's not going to be at Stomping Grounds?
I think he should be at Stomping Grounds. I think the pay-per-view itself is already, fans are like, I was reading today that a lot of people in the WWE behind the scenes are worried about Stomping Grounds and how it's going to be perceived and how it's going to be a flop. And they're kind of comparing it to the atmosphere when they went to Saudi. It's just the direction and the general feel, I guess you could say. I think having him there would have added a lot to it. Maybe they still plan to. Maybe he's going to be involved in some kind of matchup or show up one way or the other. But I feel like he should be on the card. And if he's not, I hope you're damn right. And I hope this is it. I hope he is coming to TV as soon as next week the I love it. I love the Firefly Funhouse. I think it's a waste to play the same thing every Monday and every SmackDown on Tuesday. I mean, I guess they put the money into the production of it, so they want to get their money's worth and play it 2 times. They could do it on a commercial, but I think, SmackDown being 2 hours, playing it twice, a lot of us who watch SmackDown, we watch Raw, we've seen it. I'd rather see another superstar or superstars on SmackDown than having to watch that again. So it's probably just me. It's probably a kind of an unpopular opinion because we love it, but...
No, I don't also like to watch it twice. Who wants to watch it twice?
Yeah,
that's what YouTube is for.
I'd rather see Aleister Black.
No. Okay, that's my next point. I'm done with it. Like, you know me. I was so excited for Aleister Black to come to main roster. I thought the way he debuted with Ricochet was amazing. I think I said on this podcast that he's going to be the next NXT call-up that's going to win a championship. However, what they're doing with him right now...
They fucked up.
Like... It reminds me of Ultimate Warrior promos. It reminds me of Bray Wyatt promos where I'm like, what or shitty Jeff Hardy promos. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And
shitty Jeff Hardy. Yeah, it is shitty Jeff Hardy promos.
I'm like, it doesn't work. Like, just, he could be a guy who doesn't even have to talk. And he would get over. Like, I want to see him in the ring, man. Like, if you want to talk about wrestling and missing somebody from wrestling... Aleister Black is being held out of the ring. Are you crazy?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Do they not want him to step on Ricochet's toes? Like, dude, put one on SmackDown, one on Raw. That's how it is anyways. Let's go, man.
I know, and when these two came to the main roster, they were featured on both Raw and SmackDown every week. They were an amazing tag team. They were destined to win those tag team titles. And then when they got split up because of the whole... It's funny. Sometimes it's funny how the girlfriends and the relationships end up being a bad thing for your career in the WWE. I mean, you can ask Rusev. But I just feel like ever since that happened, I don't know what it was, he hasn't been on TV at all. He's just been in those backstage promos. And a lot of people were concerned and complaining that he didn't have the best mic skills. And actually, you know what? Like, I think he's grown a lot in that regard. I think his mic skills are they're good enough. They're good. They're all right. But I'm just tired of this week after week, like, who's going to come knocking on my door? No one's come knocking on your door since then. Nobody wants to grab that brass ring and come in your door. Like, it's just rehash, recycle, waste of time. And I feel like it's a waste of Aleister Black. He should be there every week. I agree. I think out of all the NXT people they called up, he should be one of the first people to have the main title. He was amazing in the ring, and we love watching him. I have to think something's going on. I don't know if it's injury. I mean, he's been wrestling on live events. What is going on? Why do you not want Aleister Black on your show every week? I don't know. I don't get it.
Unless they're like keeping all this for the SummerSlam build or, for October. It's just, odd choices. Like WWE has always made odd choices, but I feel like the last 3 months or so, pretty much since Mania, it's just been fucking bad.
I'm very disappointed where they got to at Mania and then where they are now. It's just like it's almost like they're just gonna let it play out until like a couple months before Mania again. You know, like I don't know.
The hope is dwindling, and that's a sad thing. The hope is dwindling. I mean, there was some positives. Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins was a banger. You know it. I know it. I didn't watch it. But I'm being told it's a banger. I can't watch wrestling on Raw and SmackDown. I feel like it's so bad. It's so rushed. It's too predictable. So I usually skip through the matches when I watch it. But from your notes, you said it was a treat.
It was a treat. I mean, you see Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins on Monday when you're at work. And you're like, oh, shit, that's our main event. We're going to have that tonight. That's great. These guys haven't had a solid match together. And I think immediately there was like interference or disqualification or some shit. And it's like really, a lot of us were really pissed off about it. But they ended up splitting it all up, sending people to the back, and we had our match. And it was a really good match. Don't have to go into too much detail. It kind of is what you expect. Rollins picks up the win because he's the man with the title right now. But great match between the two of them. I hope they get to go at it again. I love Daniel Bryan. I think he's hilarious. I love that he can make a promo out of anything and anything. And it was like I said, it was a treat.
It was a treat. I did stop the fast forwarding for a moment of bliss. I thought it was half decent.
It was enjoyable this week.
They were trading some pretty interesting words. I thought they were not blurring the lines, but they were getting personal, which was quite nice to see. They touched on some stuff that, you know, they mentioned Charlotte. They mentioned her time in NXT, where Alexa Bliss was kind of the oddball out. They kind of, I feel like they're building up Bayley to not a heel turn, but kind of come out of her shell. They're like, you're not really a hugger. You're not really a good person. Like, I don't know if they're playing off of what Cody Rhodes said a little while back in a presser for Double or Nothing, but they're fucking around with some shit. But the real question I have here is, where does Nikki Cross fit into this? Because there's obviously Bliss is going to fight Nikki eventually, but is it going to be one of those things where, like, they're setting up for a pretty big payoff, and I'm fearful that we're going to get this like match on Raw for 5 minutes and then it's done.
This is a good topic. This is fun. This is exciting. Okay, so the moment of Bliss, I enjoyed it. Obviously, they went in there and they had their kind of guidelines to follow in terms of their direction and what they want to say. I thought the whole coffee bit in the beginning was super dumb.
I liked it. There was no coffee.
I thought it was dumb. Why is it on TV and movies when somebody has a coffee cup and there's nothing in it? Fill it with water. Fill it with whatever.
Or fill it with coffee. Because everybody drinks coffee.
But I get it in movies where you don't want to keep taking sips of the same coffee. I get it. But put water in it. Like, it's so light. It's so dumb. It has pink. It had glitter on it. It was super stupid. And they're making, like, and Alexa Bliss is like, today on social media, Bayley still owes me a coffee. Like, that part was lame. I rolled my eyes to begin with it. But when they started shooting barbs with each other, I thought it was pretty cool. It definitely got personal. I'm sure they went to, a little bit further than they needed to be. Alexa was actually talking about something specific, and then Bayley said something that pulled her off of what she was saying, and then actually went to a different direction. So she actually went off of track because of something Bayley said. So you could tell they were taking barbs at each other. The fact that Alexa called Bayley a placeholder champion, that was a bit, as a stinger right there. And some people see her as a placeholder champion, so we'll see. But I think you nailed it. I think this has the potential for a really good payoff. We've seen Nikki Cross. People were wondering what's going on with her. She's acting a bit normal backstage, a little bit crazy in the ring. How is this going to play into things? She protected Alexa this past week. We know the way Alexa works. She turns on everybody. Bayley nailed it on the head. I don't think it's going to be yet. I think this Sunday, Nikki's going to have Alexa's back.
Yeah.
But maybe Nikki's going to try to do something and cost Alexa the match. And then that'll start a tension between the two of them. There is a small part of me, and I won't even say a small, pretty good part of me, that actually wants to see Alexa Bliss win this match.
Oh, I do.
Just to see the outrage and to see and hear and feel McMahon go, ha ha ha, this is good shit.
Dude, I want the booking to be Bayley to win, and I want 5 minutes before the match goes on for McMahon to change his mind. and you know what? I feel bad for Bayley that she's this sacrificial lamb in all this, because I do think she has a lot of potential. I think she's one of the better women wrestlers on the roster.
Honey, she peaked in NXT.
But dude, I feel like it's a jab at Sasha if they do it, and any jab at Sasha I'll take. So
oh yeah, but that's the thing too. Like, I don't know, Sasha's like, the fans, like, she goes in interviews, the fans were booing me for a while, but then I managed to reconnect and find them again because I found myself. Bayley, I'm telling you, 2-3 months from now, you're gonna be back the same place you were before, man. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the way the WWE is right now. And she really has to reinvent herself or become a different character or something, man. Like I told you, man, hook up with Elias. Be Elias's roadie, man. Come on, walk with Elias.
Is there anything else you want to mention in the Raw and SmackDown recaps before we take our break and come back with our Stomping Grounds predictions? Because we have a few more things in our notes, but we're kind of crossing that line of time, and I just don't know if any of that is worth mentioning at this point.
Well, we did see Drake Maverick pick up the 24/7 title.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
He dressed up like Carmella and then ended up pinning him, which I thought was pretty funny and creative.
There was boobs on the floor.
There was boobs on the floor. And if somebody mentioned something online today, it was like, it'd be really cool if Matt Hardy won the 24/7 title and then put it in the lake or whatever of rejuvenation, pulled it out, and it was like the hardcore title. That would be the only way they could save
Wishful
this, right?
thinking. No, it's good. And you know what? I think Drake Maverick, this was the right time for Truth to lose it. Because I think Drake's going to have his run with it now. And I know WWE is like...
He'll be hiding now, right, I guess?
Yeah, he'll be hiding. And I know WWE is high on Drake Maverick. And I know a lot of people on Twitter are high on him. I didn't like him in AOP. I thought he was annoying. I saw him on 205 Live a few times. I think he was the commissioner down there for a while.
He still is.
He still is? Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do it for me. So I'm really hoping that this is an opportunity for him to win some of us over, because I've liked him for the 24-hour. I've liked him for it so far.
Cool. And I want to give props to Xavier Woods and Dolph Ziggler. They put on a really good match this week. Dude, Xavier Woods gorilla press.
Yeah, that was
Dolph
nuts.
Ziggler.
That was nuts.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was nuts.
I'm like, what's the camera trick here? Because I'm not exactly seeing what's going on. But yeah,
I
man,
stopped fast forwarding because I thought I saw it. I rewinded it, watched it, and didn't he end it with like a gut buster?
No, it was a super kick.
Oh, that's
yeah, the gorilla press. Yeah, the gorilla press.
Yeah, the gorilla press. He threw him off.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So that was really cool. And I also wanted to mention that if you guys were following Big Cass and Enzo, or whatever the fuck his name is now on the indie scene,
Cass XL or something.
No, Enzo's name, or
I think it's just Enzo.
Real one or Enzo? Yeah, okay. So Moxley took on Big Cass. So you guys can check that out online. It's so funny because those guys made a big splash during WrestleMania weekend, interfering at Ring of Honor, jumping in. Nobody knew if it was a work or if it was real or whatever the fuck was going on. It was stiff. Now everybody knew what was going on. But now you have them going up against the newest hot item on the indie scene, Jon Moxley. Boom, takes them both out and I wouldn't say squashes them, but kind of, I guess, takes the wind from underneath their sails. So that was interesting to see. But then Big Cass went and cut a really cool promo talking about how he's been in the dumps after leaving the WWE. He gained lots of weight. He had a seizure. He had substance issues. And now that he's coming to reclaim his throne, I guess, figuratively speaking. So check that out. Really cool promo. I don't know where they're going to end up landing, but Moxley is still active, still doing things on the indie scene. It seems like every other day there's some news coming out. And it's going to be exciting to see what he has coming on the horizon at Fyter Festival and at All Out.
Maybe he'll be the special guest referee for the Seth Rollins match.
Conan and Savio Vega on their way to MLW. I guess that's something. Savio Vega, I mentioned to see him. I used to like him back in the day. Yeah, I used to like him back in the day. Los Baricuas. Yeah,
I had to read that twice when I saw that. I was like, Savio Vega?
Yeah, man.
And he looks like he's the same age, which is crazy.
Well, he shaves his head now. I think he's got a little bit of extra weight on him. But dude, man, he was a bit of a player back in the day. I remember at No Way Out 98 or 7 or 8, he ended up filling in for Shawn Michaels and joining D-Generation X for the night. So like at one point in time, he was on a pretty good path. So.
He was something.
His finishing move was a spinning heel kick. Remember that? It was like, really?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be going over our Stomping Grounds preview.
See you soon.
What's up, guys? We just wanted to take a quick second to tell you guys about this new app that we've been using. It's called Podcoin. It is a podcast player. It's great. If you're not familiar with it yet, I highly suggest you checking it out. It's a free app. It's available on iPhone, on Android, and you can actually use it. You could turn your listens into money that you could put towards, Starbucks gift cards, Amazon gift cards, or if you want to donate the cash to charity, you can do that as well. Subscribe to us on there. I mean, we're available there. All of our other podcast friends are available there as well. And actually, if you're new to the app and use the code Talkamania, you'll get an extra 300 pod coins just for signing up if you use our code. So highly suggest checking it out today. Again, that's Podcoin, available on iPhone and on Android. Now let's go back to the show. All right, guys, welcome back to the show, and it's time for WWE Stomping Ground preview with your boys, Dez and J-Bomb.
New day. Oh.
We should get one of those, actually. Have we had a New Day soundbite on the show?
Like I was saying earlier, we got to get more stuff. Let's update it. Let's get. You know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna get some new soundbites. I think New Day should be on there. I agree with you.
Okay, that's your job. Okay, let's jump into this, man. Let's see. The pay-per-view of rematches. Here we go. Okay, we got Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak. God, I can never pronounce that guy's name when I read it. Tony's Nese versus Drew Gulak versus Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa.
What are you, the dude? Who was that guy who did that all the time? He was the. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about Akira Tozawa because that's what he does,
man.
You tell this guy doesn't watch 205 at all because this is Akira Tozawa's thing.
Live,
not many people, but I do. So yeah, this match will be good. I think having these guys involved is really cool. 205 Live is heating up, man. Noam Dar's back. They got Mike Kanellis as well too, who's now on 205 Live. They got Chad Gable. So I mean, I don't think it gets the love it should. These matches that these guys have are actually really good. They're actually pretty much had that NXT vibe to them. So they are worth checking out, but the fact that they're after Raw, after SmackDown, right at a convenient time, it does make the product suffer. But look, we got Tony Nese. He's taking on Gulak and Tozawa, who ended up fighting in a match for the number one contendership. It was a double pin.
Ooh.
And because of that, it's going to be a triple threat. I think, look, Drew Gulak has been chasing this championship for a while. He's been in the 205 Live for quite a lot of time. I think it could be a good time to take the title off of Nese and give it to him. I think he could be a good champion, a good heel champion. Buddy Murphy kept it for a while, so I don't think Tony Nese needs to. But I don't think they're going to take it off him yet. So I do kind of think Tony Nese is going to walk away. But I would like to see Gulak.
They should have put Chad Gable in this match.
I know. He came in and all of a sudden he's just, I guess, I don't know. It seems like if you're going to have somebody debut, put him into a match, right?
Yeah, man, this card's shit. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at it up and down and it's shit. But Sunday we're going to make a fun thing out of this. We really are. What are we going to do? Let's get wasted.
Sure. Why not?
You want to make like a drinking game out of it or something?
I don't know. We'll figure something out, but we'll make fun, guys, because people are going to Stomping Ground thinking it's going to be a shitty pay-per-view. We'll do our best at Talkamania to bring the excitement.
All right, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery. What are those guys' names?
Otis
and the other guy
and Skippy.
So he's the Jannetty? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I know. That guy, he's not. They come out looking like the Bushwhackers, and the other guy doesn't do a very good job of it. And like, I know his name, and it's just I'm
They're
sorry,
pretty
bro.
good though. Like
They're all right.
everyone, you know what? Them and the Viking Warriors Experience Raiders, whatever they're called, they're really like for big dudes. They're freaking awesome tag team.
Yeah. The Vikings are pretty good for big wrestlers. But yeah, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, they're talking about making the title the tag team division relevant and being big players, and they're not taking the titles off them. It's not happening yet for Heavy Machinery.
Is the match going to be good? I think the match could actually have pretty good potential here.
I think it's going to be cool to see Daniel Bryan go off against Otis. I do. I think those two mixing it up in the ring, it pretty much is like Otis is just like an inflated Daniel Bryan, pretty much. Just like big puffy Daniel Bryan. So we'll see. But yeah, I think the match itself could be pretty cool.
It's on the pre-card?
But I don't know. It's the latest match that was added to the card. So if it's not in the pre-card, it'll be like one of the first matches probably that kicks off the show.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're probably right. They're probably not going to change champions, eh?
No.
We got the New Day versus KO and Sami Zayn. When did they add this?
Last minute-ish.
Oh, God.
Well, first of all, we didn't even know that Big E was going to be able to wrestle and be back a couple weeks ago. So the fact that he's back, it's great. KO and Sami Zayn, they've been in like the main event quite a lot lately, but with no direction.
Yeah, no direction.
So yeah, no direction at all. I don't know what's going on with them. So to have them against a New Day, I think that could be a good match. Big E is back. That could be a good showing, I guess, as well too. Having Big E back in his first pay-per-view match, I don't see the New Day losing this. I say they win. But one thing that's been in the back of my mind is, remember when Big E came back a couple weeks ago and he was finally back, quote unquote, and then he got attacked backstage, and people were like, "Oh, it was clearly Kevin Owens," and Kevin Owens is in the ring and he's cutting a promo and he's like, "I know you think I did it, but I'm telling you, like, you know, as bad as I am, it wasn't me. It wasn't me." And I really believe it wasn't him. And it's kind of like, well, what happened with that story? Who attacked him? What's going on? What's up with that? Who attacked Big E? Was he attacked? And is this going to lead to maybe a turn on Xavier Woods? Or,
oh my God.
I don't know.
Look,
remember Big Cass got attacked backstage? Nobody knew who it was, but then he just played it out of himself as if like they had a security footage and he actually lied down there himself and attacked himself. So I don't know, man. I just feel like there's some unfinished business here. Mind you, we're still...
Have they mentioned it recently?
No. And we're still waiting to find out, mind you, what Triple H said to Kevin Owens. So.
I was just about to bring that up. I was going to say, hey, Kevin Owens is involved. That means that it's a drop storyline. And it's kind of like the pineapple from How I Met Your Mother. You might have to wait till it's all over to find out that it really wasn't that interesting.
Like Stomping Grounds.
Yeah. Samoa Joe versus Ricochet.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow. Joe.
It's so, yeah. I think this match is actually going to be pretty good.
Yeah. It'll be one of the better matches on the card. I'm hoping that Ricochet is able to bring some things out of Joe that we normally don't see, and vice versa. He won't be able to fly around. Well, he will fly around a lot.
For sure.
But he's also going to have to rely on a little bit of different arsenal to take out Joe. Look, I don't think he's going to beat Samoa Joe. I think we have to make this U.S. title.
I do think he's going to beat Samoa Joe.
Well, I wouldn't mind, but I feel at the same time that they have to start building this U.S. title into something. We talk about it week after week. I think opening up Raw this week with the #1 contendership match was a good start. The match was decent, and I think they should continue off and build off of it. Now, I have a feeling that it's going to be a great match. I think we're going to have these glistens and hopeful thinkings that it's going to happen. There'll be some close calls, some close false finishes, but ultimately, I think Joe is going to make Ricochet a good night tonight.
Roman Reigns versus Drew motherfucking McIntyre.
Reigns.
I think this
what do you think?
is gonna be a shitty match. I don't know. Their match at WrestleMania was nothing special. It's a repeat of that. Is this the payoff between the two of them? Probably is, actually.
I don't think the story's over with Shane and Drew and all that stuff. I think it's going to go on further. Look, we saw Shane beat Roman Reigns, being the best in the world at Saudi Arabia with Drew's help. And the way that Raw ended off this week as well, too, where... Was it Raw or SmackDown? But either way, Roman Reigns had the better over Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. And usually when you see that going into an event, well, it means that person's likely going to lose. And I have to feel like maybe if they're progressing this storyline with Roman Reigns, then Drew McIntyre is going to pick up the win. So ultimately, look, if it was any regular pay-per-view or event, Roman Reigns is going to win. But I feel like they're maybe doing something a little bit different right now. They're building into a bigger payout, a bigger payoff in this story. And I'm hoping, and I'm going to say, maybe Drew McIntyre is going to pull it off. So I'm going to go with Drew.
Back-to-back Roman Reigns losses at pay-per-view.
Yeah,
You're
man.
fucking bold, man.
I know. I'm bold.
All right, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship title. Fuck Sasha Banks.
I was sitting here looking at Jay, and I'm like, what's he got to say? What's he going to say? Enlighten me. And he did. He enlightened me quite well. This match, dude, I think it would be amazing to have Alexa Bliss win this and just troll us all. At this point, the WWE is so bad and so off the rails that it's like when they do these destructive things, it's almost like, you know what? Bring it on. Let's see what they can do. I'm down.
I almost, you know what? I used to watch WWE to see the storylines. Now I watch WWE to, see Twitter burn, man.
Oh, it's hard, man. I know we try to live tweet with you guys week after week, but the past while it's been tough because you guys are bitches. Get over it. Get over yourself. It's WWE. You know what it is. If you don't like it, change the channel. Go watch something else. Enjoy what it is. You're never going to be happy. Santa doesn't exist.
What?
Sorry, man.
Dude, I got fucking kids. Santa is real, bro.
Sorry, if you're your age and you don't know, it must be your wife putting presents out by the tree, but you need a special helmet and a mouth guard.
Yeah, Bayley, Alexa Bliss. I mean, let's just watch Alexa win so we could have some fun with it.
I would love it. I would love to see Alexa win. Nikki's going to be involved one way or the other. It looks like they're going to be pushing towards Alexa versus Nikki in the near future. I think Bayley's going to hold on to this. Some way she's going to retain. But you know what? This may be the one thing coming out of Stomping Grounds. This may be the return of Sasha Banks. Who knows? She might come out and help out Bayley. Maybe she comes out and helps Bayley and then, decks Bayley and wants to be the next challenger. I don't know. A lot of opportunities. Please don't drop the ball with a return if you're going to bring her back. But a lot of question marks in this match. We had a conversation earlier about where does Nikki Cross fit into this. I think we're going to find out on Sunday.
Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler again.
Before we start talking about the match itself, I thought it'd be really funny during the moment of bliss when Alexa Bliss was like, coffee, coffee, coffee. If Kofi would have walked out and been like, yeah, what's up? No, I said coffee. Oh, my bad. I think it could have just been silly.
You know what they should have done? They should have used the phrase, yeah, well, you go for coffee.
A gopher?
Yeah, go for coffee. Never heard that before? Go for coffee.
Go for coffee.
Go fuck off, eh?
Oh, go fuck off, eh? Oh, no, I actually didn't know that. I thought you were referencing to like somebody who's like an assistant or a bitch. It's like you're a gopher, right?
Oh, no.
You work on a set, you're the gopher. You go for this, go get that, go get this, go get that, gopher.
Yeah, Bayley should have been like, you know what, Alexa? Go for coffee.
Ah, that's interesting. That wouldn't have worked. Yeah. But yeah, Kofi Kingston, Ziggler. I mean, it depends where on this card the match lies. There's always a question mark, will Brock challenge or cash in on Kofi Kingston? Now there's all this talk and ready to have your minds blown if you haven't read about this. People are thinking that it's going to be Shane McMahon who beats Kofi for the championship. This is a big story building up for Shane to be the champion and take the belt off Kofi Kingston. People are talking about it. Recently, Kofi's been saying in interviews how he wants to face Shane McMahon because he claims he's the best in the world. Yep. I see the face you're making, J-Bomb. So it's going to be some crazy fucked up shit where Shane McMahon may be your WWE champion in the near future. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully everybody else is wrong, but that is scary shit to think about. But ultimately, Kofi Kingston, Ziggler, I'm always down for a cool cage match. But ultimately,
is it a cage match?
Yeah, it's a cage match.
Oh.
That means Xavier Woods, Big E, they can't interfere. But I think Kofi's going to win. Ziggler won't be the guy to take the title off of Kofi. No. It's not going to be Ziggler.
And not a Stomping Grounds.
Yet.
Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans.
Becky Lynch.
The Nasty versus the... What does she call herself, Lacey? The Southern Belle.
Southern Belle. Yeah,
She's a
I'm the
lady.
Southern Belle. And you're a nasty. And I'm going to take care of you at Stomping Grounds and be the new Raw Women's Champion. And I'll teach you with a woman's right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
not bad,
pretty
yeah.
good, man. I was like, are you going to fuck this up? Are you going to fuck this up? Did you write that down?
No, man, all in my head.
Wow.
I am a woman at heart, a Southern Belle.
Yo.
But every time I type out Becky Lynch notes on my phone, it's like Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
Did they fight? No, they obviously didn't fight in Saudi Arabia. But this feud's been going on for a while, eh?
A while. And I think people are seeing a lot of promise in Lacey Evans. I see a lot of work that needs to be done. A little bit not as tight in the ring as she should be. But yeah. She definitely has a potential. She's good in the mic. She's being thrown in the spotlight pretty early. It's funny. If you actually like Talk is Jericho's podcast, he talks about Stomping Ground in one of the latest ones and talks about the lead up to it, his thoughts and what he thinks. And he thinks that they should put the title on her already. I think it's a little bit premature. You know, what do I know? He's the GOAT after all.
Yep.
But I don't know. We'll see. If Becky Lynch loses if she loses the title at Stomping Grounds, that's worrisome. I don't know where Becky goes from there. Maybe she wins it back. But when she doesn't have a title, what happens? Does she just go back to being an afterthought? Does her heat wear off? Because honestly, she definitely hasn't been as hot as she's been leading to WrestleMania.
Well, think about that. She didn't have a title leading in WrestleMania. So is she the Dean Ambrose of the women's division? Where
she's the chase.
She's the journey woman, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Well, that could be it.
Her chasing Lacey is not the same as her chasing Ronda or her chasing Charlotte. It's just not the same.
But them using Becky, like they used Lacey for her to drop the first title. She gave her the women's right, the weak ass boot. She dropped the title. So who's to say Lacey can't do it again and make her drop the Raw title? You know.
Yeah. I mean,
don't yawn on me. Let's make it through this shit.
Yeah, it's. Well, I was gonna say it's getting late. It's 8:30.
Old man.
I'm gonna have to save this one for Sunday, man, because I got to think about this one a little bit harder. I'd like to see Lacey win. I'm not gonna lie. But like you said, I don't know where it's gonna put Becky. So
I have to think Becky's gonna take it. But again, probably. You don't know. At the same time, I also feel like WWE can be like, Lacey's gonna win, and then Becky's like, wah, wah.
I'm leaving. I'm gonna go hang out with Sasha.
And the fact that they're playing Seth and Becky on screen all the time, like, it's kind of
revolting. Is it revolting? It's cringy, right?
Yeah, and they find subtle ways to make them cross paths backstage and stuff. It's like
they're like, oh, here's Becky Lynch with her boyfriend Seth. And you're like, who cares? It's not even part of the storyline.
I wonder what Schmoopy would think about that.
Here's Becky with his boyfriend Seth Rollins.
All right, let's do it. Seth Rollins talking about the man versus Baron Corbin for the Universal Championship. And there's going to be a special referee that we don't know who it is just yet. So my question, who's the special referee and who wins?
No idea who the special referee is. We talked about this earlier. I mean, we got to come up with a list. This is going to be like the ultimate prediction that we make on Sunday. We're going to make this into the biggest drinking game possible. I don't know. Like, I have no clue who it could even be. I was watching Raw, and when Seth Rollins attacked that bald dude with the big tattoo, I didn't even know who that guy was. And then I found out it was Eric Young. And I was like, when the fuck did that guy get a tattoo on his back like that?
I didn't notice the tattoo, but I noticed he shaved, and now he looks like every other guy with a bald head.
His entire back is tattooed, like his entire back. I was like, I don't remember him having
Well, you got to do something with your time off when you're not wrestling or being on TV, right?
That's true.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not gonna think too much outside the box or think too hard on this and give WWE too much credit. I have to think it's gonna be Brock Lesnar, and I think Seth's still gonna find a way to retain the title.
I think it's too early for Seth Rollins to lose the Universal, so you're probably right. But I would like to see Baron Corbin win because
I'm not completely opposed to the idea.
I'd like to see, like remember when Sheamus beat who did he beat? Did he beat Dean Ambrose to become the champion when he cashed in? I think he beat Dean Ambrose in his last WWE Championship run, and he came out on Raw the next day, sitting up there under the Titantron with a suit on, talking shit, and he was good. So
I remember you talking about that. You've talked about this Sheamus run quite a few times here, and you might be alone on this, thinking that was a great run. I thought it was pretty good. I think they could have done a lot better with him.
It was short and sweet.
It was short and sweet. Yeah, for sure. So that brings us through our predictions for Stomping Ground. It's going to be this Sunday, guys. This is our predictions offhand. This is just shooting the shit about matches. You want to get our official predictions? Well, you got to tune in this Sunday on Full Press Radio. We're going to be doing our live show like we do every month for Stomping Grounds, guys. And J-Bomb, how can they check that out?
Full Press Radio. Follow them at Full Press Radio. You can get the link through our website on Talkamania.com. You can call in. We'll tweet out the number. Me and Des will be live. We've made the agreement now. We're going to get rip-roar drunk for it. So, Ian, be ready. From now till then, Des, brainstorm some drinking games. Listeners, sorry, I'm very sick. Listeners, if you want to suggest some sort of, I don't know, wager we could put on this, anything to make Stomping Grounds more interesting for the WWE Universe and the Talkamaniacs out there, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So as always, check us out on social media @_Talkamania, Instagram, Podbean, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasting kicks from. Check us out on Full Press Radio. We'll see you Sunday. WWE Stomping Grounds on behalf of Talkamania. J-Bomb's out. Des, say bye.
Happy Rusev Day.